Hello guys, this is Dr. Lior Bar-El. For those of you guys just tuning in, as always, I did a mini-series based on what you guys requested. So the first one I just finished, obviously, the how to build a gaming / post-production / productivity computer. And right now we are starting every Sunday also releasing. First off, I'm doing reviews of everything 3D printing, and then I'm going to show you guys how to build your very own Starkiller helmet from beginning to end, believe it or not. And by end I mean obviously the weathered look and everything, and how to print it, and how to even wire this baby, okay, which is pretty sick, as you can see. So it's pretty cool. We're gonna get right into that the second that happens, and then afterwards we're gonna do another mini series of how to build a gaming / post-production / productivity desk for you, for anywhere retailing close to like $1,500, $900 to $1,500, but I'm going to show you how to build it for a little bit over the $300 mark, or over the $400 mark if you want it, just a little bit over the $400 mark if you want it to be exactly like mine. Okay, so now we're going to get right into the nitty-gritty of this episode, okay? Now, I know some of you guys requested this a lot. You guys told me, what is the best nozzle? Oh, I heard a certain nozzle doesn't get affected. Other nozzles don't get worn out, or, all these things. So first off, let me just explain something to you. There is a lot of sales schemes out there, okay? Things that will tell you that coating makes it 15 times stronger, or will not will not wear out, or it will never wear out, and so on and so forth. Guys, first off, you should know that every nozzle wears out, and I'm going to explain this to you first before I show you all the nozzles that what I prefer, what I all that. But nozzles will filament will always wear down nozzles, and the reason for that is if you have abrasive material. Now, if you're only printing PLA, it'll take a while before the heat and all of that stuff start affecting, let's say, your brass nozzles. I had brass nozzles on mine for like 2 to 3 years, and I still haven't replaced it. It still does great work. So, I mean, it depends. Well, I have some of my other 3D printers that print out carbon fiber, or, the wood one, or even metallic ones. The thing is that you guys should know is that these wear it out. Now, why do these filaments are called abrasive? There's a reason for that, and different nozzles can be better than others. And now the reason why I'm telling you this is, let's say if I use, let's say, a brass nozzle, if I'm using carbon fiber, you should know that the filament has a base of PLA, right? Which is, that's okay, but guess what? It has also particles, elements of carbon fiber in it, which is sharp, which is horribly sharp, and that's what makes it abrasive. And then what happens is you also have to set it on higher heat, and what eventually happens, as you know, in brass pipes or whatever, they eventually need a changing, because you'll start seeing cracks and holes in them, and so on and so forth, and you'll need to remove it, and so on and so forth, and go to another nozzle, whatever, and see which one works for you. But they're all going to be worn out no matter what anyone says. There's other nozzles that cost over $100, okay? And it's ridiculous that people actually think that, if, let's say, I'm printing PLA, I'm not going to go and get me those, nozzles and expect it to be immortal, to last me forever. That's just not going to happen. I don't care what anybody tells you out there. It's not going to happen. I had ones, the brass, that lasts for, for 3 years. But then again, when I do abrasive filament, I could use, let's say, steel, stainless steel, or even the Olsson Ruby. And no matter what, people call it indestructible, it will be destroyed eventually, and that's because filament just has that property. It will eventually wear down your nozzles. Now, also, I know a lot of people are saying, well, if you replace the nozzle, wake up your 3D printer and turn it into the best thing in the world. No, it won't. In fact, it only changes the nozzle. And yes, you could use it for more abrasive filament, but there's other things that you might need to get. Something like, a new heat brick, a new, attachment for it, and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that go into that. The settings, what are you getting? Every nozzle is different. So now we're going to go right into telling you about this. So you guys asked me, what is the best nozzle? I'm telling you, there's no such thing as the best nozzle. They all have their own properties, and they all will be worn out. The thing is, if you're doing 3D printing, especially in a professional manner, you need to think of things that are more cost effective. Okay, filament cost a fortune. Okay, they go up and down in price all the time. I use Ziltech and I get good deals on them when I buy bulk. I'm not, you know, a spokesman for them or anything. You could get whatever you guys want. But there is another reason why these things happen. And I'm going to tell you now. First, we're going to talk about flooding before I talk about it. Why is flooding? A lot of you guys asked me that. Why do clogging, occur? Well, it's quite simple. First off, not every nozzle is built the same. Okay, if you get a nozzle that from a non-reputable dealer, or even from a reputable dealer, in which I'm going to talk to you guys right now about, even though they're listed as 0.4, you're going to actually get a 0.3. So things like that can affect it. Also, if you have other filament that were abrasive, or even other filament in general in there, and you didn't do a cleaning before replacing another filament, and you're not doing any type of maintenance work and just set it and forget it, you're gonna have clogs, and that's just the way it is. And another thing is, you guys got to understand that there's also bad nozzles that are made horrible, that actually starts to chip on the inside, and you start getting flakes on the inside that can't go, that will not come out, no matter how much whatever you do, it will not come out, and thus causing all kinds of floods and so on, and clogs and so on and so forth. Another thing is, if you have a crack, and let's say a brass nozzle or something else, that has a crack on the point, or something is a little bit off, what's going to happen is you're going to have clogging, and it's going to come out from another hole and connect. Sorry, I'm not feeling that well today. And so on and so forth. So now we're going to talk about different sets of nozzles here. Nozzles that I personally trust. Now I'm going to tell you, I get them in bulk. I bought like 5 brass nozzles. This is why I'm trying to tell you, to be cost effective, brass nozzles are cheap. You could get like 5 of them for like $2-3 delivered. Just make sure you get it from a reputable dealer. I get them from eBay from a guy who has a ton of reviews, and you could just find it. I'm not gonna, endorse anyone, but just look for people that have really good reviews on their stuff. And this is the brass nozzles, and they're 0.04, and I'm gonna show you guys now something really cool, and I want you guys to truly understand this. Okay, so this is a 0.04 brass nozzle, your common nozzle that even comes with the Cr-10. Now, I built my own Cr-10, so it looks pretty much the same, and it does everything. But if you see, this is a 0.4 nozzle cleaner. Okay, now this is something extremely important for you to understand, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because, look, on both ways, it's going to go in, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. So see, all the way in. Okay? But now you understand that this is a 0.4 nozzle. Now I'm going to first tell you guys a little bit about what 0.4 means, and then we're going to go into the other nozzles, okay? So 0.4 means just sort of like a layer height. Now if you see striations or whatever, let's say this came out as a flawed flawed print, you're going to see, let me see if I could get that in focus. I mean, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about here. So you see striations, lines and stuff like that. So you get a 0.4 nozzle. I personally like it because it's a sweet spot, right? Now you can get a 0.2 nozzle, a 0.3 nozzle, and it's going to be more detailed. In fact, if you get a 0.2, you won't even see any striations. It'll be extremely detailed. But guess what, guys? Your printing will take forever to be done. And if you're doing, let's say, a frickin' helmet, which I've done before, you're going to take forever to do it. So me, I prefer, and you might not have to sand it or sand it as much. Me personally, I just like to sand it. I like the whole process. I like doing it. It calms my stress. I take a sander. I sand the damn thing. I, do some clear coats on it. I mean, some, primer on it, and then I spray paint it and everything. I like the whole process, and I don't mind it as long as I get it fast. Now, of course, you could say, well, if you combine it, the time you print and the time that you do your hard work together, it'll come out the same, so you might as well print with a 0.2, let's say, and do that, or whatever. Let me just let you guys know right off the bat, you also have to take into account what I said, cost effective. Now, if you're using your printer and it's printing on, for example, a helmet takes me about 4 to 5 days to actually make it with my settings, which I like to make it detailed and everything. 4 to 5 days, that's a lot of electric being eaten. So if you want to do it on a if you do it on a 2.0, it would have took me probably 10 days or 12 days, 13, 14, 16 days to do. That's a lot of money in electricity. So the best thing is to get yourself a 0.4 and just do the manual work. Now, as you can see with my settings that I provided for you, which I am going to be working on another video with updated settings that I found that are even better, that worked for me. But the ones I gave you has a great deal of success for everybody in every printer. And using a 0.4. So it's really cool. And these things are really cheap and it's cost effective. Now, if you're printing in only PLA, this baby right here would be really cool. I even printed in ABS. I usually don't print in ABS, but I've done it with the brass and had no issues, but I'm sure there will be eventually an issue. Now we go into the other one, okay? The stainless steel. Now I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about, okay? So stainless steel, okay? Let me see if I can get this in focus here, what it says, so you don't think I'm a liar. Oh, damn. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Let me get it in focus. I don't know if you guys could see this, but it's a 4.0. Okay, this is a 4.0. Okay, a 0.4. Okay, nozzle. Now, if you guys remember, this thing went all the way through. This is a made for a 4.0. Watch this, guys. Okay, first off, I'm going in here, and it only comes out in the point. You see that? But it will not. See that? Look, and now it doesn't go, and it takes a little push, and it goes out. So, guess what, guys? Even though this was bought from a very much reputable dealer, this is not a 0.4. And also, I know people that pay $25 for these things. I'm not going to name the companies. You guys already know. And they're, they're said that they're indestructible and then blah, blah, blah. And, of course, they are destructible. As I told you, it's all a sales scheme. And you pay $25 when this thing, I got 7 for like 15 bucks of these stainless steel. So it's very cheap. And it's the same exact thing. If you look at it, it's exactly the same thing. But as you can see, this, just like the expensive one, does not go through all the way. Which means this is not a 4.0. This is not a 0.4. So we're going to go into this, okay? And right here, I'm going to pull out, this is a 4, as you can see. This right here is a 3. Okay, a 0.3. So the 0.3, you're going to see something funny here. The 0.3 goes right in. All the way in, as you can see. So what does that tell you? This is a 0.3 and it's labeled as a 0.4, which is horrible. You understand the point? And that's that could also cause a lot of issues in your printer when you're putting the settings on a 0.4 when in reality it's a 0.3. Okay, so what is this used for? Stainless steel? I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. I mean, steel, whatever, I don't like it. First off, it could deal with abrasive material, yes. The problem is it's not a good heat conductor. Okay, so it's not going to take that much heat in, which means if, let's say, I'm setting it at a regular 205 on my brass nozzle, I'm going to need to up it to about 215 to 220, I'm not kidding, to have regular PLA. Okay, that's more energy, more everything. Just to use PLA. So if you're just strictly going with PLA, go for the cheaper brass model and you won't regret it, okay? That would be, so I'm telling you literally what's the best for your job. If you're not dealing with abrasive, I say buy a number of them. I always change out my filaments. Right now I'm printing in brass at 100 infill. I'm actually coming out with something professional. I'm going to show you guys with the Star Killer helmet, spinal cord and stuff like that. But, so I'm trying to make it last, you know, even though really, you should be doing it at like 10 or 15. I like the heaviness of it. That's just me when I do something pro. But this is the thing. So I would go straight up if I do PLA, strictly with brass. Even ABS, strictly with brass. If you're looking to do something with ABS, carbon fiber, woods, you know, whatever, steel, all kinds of crap, use this one right here because it will deal, obviously, better than this because this thing will be turned into mush. Okay? So when you're ready, jump into this one and get yourself this one. Now, I am also going to say that not all nozzles are built the same, okay? So be sure it's from a reputable dealer because you don't want things flaking on the inside and clogging your things. Also, make sure that it's for your printer. Since I built my very own Cr-10-like printer, Cr-10s now, like printer. What happened is I needed to find a nozzle that fits the heat brick of that specific one. So be sure that you find that. There's different shapes and sizes. You want to make sure for every little 3D printer, there's going to be a different sized nozzle. There's ones like with a big, you know, hangs over, like a volcano, whatever. The volcano ones that have really long ones. So you got to just see which one fits perfectly on yours, because and you want to make sure it's perfect also, because if you don't, there's going to be leakage from the actual from the feeder straight down. It's going to just leak, and it's going to be a total freaking mess, and you don't want that. So this is a 3. This is in reality, it says 0.4, and trust me, in other ones that sell it for 25, it's exactly the same thing. 0.4, and it's really 0.3. So always, when you first get a nozzle, before you put it in, give it a test. Put this through. If it doesn't go through, you know it's not a 4.0, and then try to get a smaller one. Always get that set. I did a review for you guys and the other one, and definitely look at the playlist, and you'll see that it's a 3.0 that cleans this baby, okay? And once you see that, that means it's a 3.0. Set it on your machine and give it hell, okay? Try it out. But I don't like using this, even with abrasive filament, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it takes forever to heat up. So if I'm using it for carbon fiber or something that's really abrasive, I'm going to be putting this baby at 260, and sometimes it doesn't even come out right. In fact, that messed up print was actually from one of these, because it didn't conduct heat that well, and you know, afterwards, now it's you know, when I did it again, it came out obviously nice when I set it up to like 260. It's not you know, it's not worth it to print abrasive filament on this, but you know, or even, I mean, you know, PLA or whatever. If you're doing it for PLA, you're gonna really regret having one of these. If you're doing it for ABS and the other ones, well, just be prepared to set the temperatures as high as it could possibly get, and get your settings dialed in right, because if you don't, you're going to have a lot of gaps and a lot of issues because of the heat. Also, it doesn't maintain the heat at a certain point. It'll always go up and down, and it does with this one. So you want to kind of try to stay away from these, unless you're, you know, really trying to work with it, you're trying to learn something, trying to see how it is, then go ahead, give it a try. I know some of my friends that use this only, and they don't mind setting the power on extreme high and whatever, but again, it depends, cost effective. I would go with the, you know, with something with the brass. And I know this one is a very expensive one, what I'm about to tell you right now, and I can tell you for a fact it is not unbreakable. I did a review for you guys. This is the Olsson Ruby. Now, the funny thing about the Olsson Ruby is they chose brass, which I totally agree. This would have been a good thing for them to come out with a brass nozzle, but it has a ruby in the middle. But here's the thing, here's the catch. This thing is almost impossible to clean out if you don't know what the hell you're doing. So always get yourself clips. Go inside, try to do some light cold pulls, not too much cold. You know, there's all kinds of things you got to watch out for. And also, don't ever put these in that are 4.0, because you will see they do not go in almost at all. It's just like the metal one, which means this is a lie too. It's not 4.0, it's 0.3. You see? And this one even comes out less than the metal one. Let me put this in focus here. Oh, hold on. Get this in focus. See that? Much less than the metal one. The metal one comes out a little more. That means this is a 0.3, and this is horrible also, because no matter what they tell you, rubies can't crack, this baby will crack. And the reason, so you got to be really gentle with this, okay? Like I told you, get that in the video, you know, print out first before you replace it, one of these, and then you'll screw it in nice and easy, and it'll go fine. But just remember, level your bed. Be very careful with this thing. Any little drop, any little thing will damage this. This will be damaged, I guarantee you. And when you have that damage, you're going to have a lot of issues. Now, if you don't have, if you take care of it and you clean it up with a 0.3, and you really take care of this thing, and you take it out and put it back in again, which I know some people say you could strip it or whatever. I've done it many times, and it's fine. The only thing you got to worry for is cracking this ruby right here. Let me just put this in focus, because if it's cracked, you're screwed. You'd have to send it back, and this, again, extremely expensive, about what is it, 90 to 100 and some odd dollars. Sometimes you could get it for 75, a cheaper brand. You don't really I don't recommend people use this right away, especially if you're a beginner. I also don't recommend people use this if you're the casual, user, whatever. If you're serious and a pro and know how it works and everything, then maybe get yourself one of these. This one came to me, believe it or not, defected. It actually had a crack already in it. So again, this is something you guys gotta know. So I'm gonna be shipping this back to them for a refund. But that's just it. That's the whole thing about it. You gotta really be careful with this thing. And I know people that had it for a year already and had no issues and not even clogging or anything because they know how to maintain it. You just gotta know how to maintain this thing. But in terms of cost effective, what is the best thing to use is PLA and brass nozzles. Now, if you're doing a more professional thing, you might want to go with ABS. If you're working with cars, might be carbon fiber. But just remember, all these filaments have a base of PLA anyway. And I could see why they went with the brass, because it conducts heat better. I would have much probably rather see it in copper. I don't know. But I know whatever. I just think it's more cost effective for them. And after all, the Ruby is the one that shoots out the melted ooze. So that's something on that. But my overall one that I recommend that is cheap is find yourself one of these. They're like 5 in a pack for like a couple of dollars. They don't cost that much. And you could start printing even professional work on PLA and you wouldn't have any type of issues at all. I mean, don't forget to put, like I did here, this is actually made 100% PLA. And I put on it all kinds of epoxies and all kinds of, fiberglass liquid and all that stuff, all these things that has been done, and it is rock solid. Okay, so you don't have to spend a fortune, and this actually can't take the heat. I was in the, in the heat with this thing. I put it up there and everything, and it doesn't melt or shrink in size because, again, you need to know how to cover it. You need to know, as you can see, the cover in layers here. You need to know how to do these things, and then you'll get a perfect thing, and you don't have to spend so much money on electricity and anything else like that. So that's just something to think about. But that is my recommendation. I would say if you're a beginner or even a professional, brass is really the best way to go. It's not the most amazing thing in the world. It will break down on you, but it's cheap, so you can keep replacing it. It's not a problem. But if you're working with abrasive filament, you might want to upgrade. I would say not this. And even though this is not cost effective at all, the Ruby, I would say if you know what you're doing, this could be a real good problem solver. It will fill in the gaps that you need to give you that extra pump. But if you're not careful with this thing is a prima donna. It will break and your whole prints will turn to crap. I'm letting you guys know these things are very fragile. They say it's indestructible. Bull crap. It will be destroyed. But this thing will not be destroyed. This thing will. And this is a steel nozzle. Even the brass won't be destroyed if you drop it. If you drop this, I guarantee it will crack. Okay, so the Ruby. So you got to be in it with a regular, this one right here, which I use for all of my, nozzles. If you over tighten it, you'll actually break it, and it'll cause all kinds of issues because they're using cheap brass. So again, this is why I say the overall best one for your money is going to be this one, the brass one. But if you're working with things that are more abrasive, or you want to get, do for cars, carbon fiber, stuff like that, I would go from both of these, even though this is not cost effective at all, with the Ruby. If you're ready to jump. If you're not ready to jump yet, go ahead with the metal. It's dirt cheap. Okay, it's like 15 bucks for, I forgot how, you get a lot of them for it. But just remember, you're going to be paying money in your electric bill because you're going to be increasing the heat. And yes, it does go up, especially when you need everything, with the heat bed and everything, and you're putting the temperatures on really high. It's just something to think about, okay? But it does do a good job providing that that you keep it at a constant temperature. Now, that being said, there's a lot of 3D printers. For example, the S5, the Cr-10 S5, where it only has a 300. Even though it's 500, the build volume all around, it only has 300 of heating. So if you need to maintain the heat bed, and you got to maintain the temperatures on here, even some of these don't even maintain temperatures correctly, you're not going to want to use this. So again, it depends on what printer you have. But if you can't maintain, let's say, 250 degrees and you can't maintain it to keep sitting there, don't think this is going to do a good job. You might as well go with the Olsson Ruby or even a brass if you're and just print on other type of filaments and not abrasive ones really, and you'll be fine. But just remember, they're all not indestructible. And if you want to be cost effective, the overall one that I highly recommend you use is the brass one, because you can always replace them. It breaks, replace it. And like I told you, I got one for like 3 years in there and it's not doing anything. I could still print and it doesn't make a crap of a difference. It's printing beautifully. The key to long life in your nozzles is to know your nozzle, know what it can and cannot do. And even if it can do every filament, just understand your filament. It all has a PLA base and it has shards. Okay, think of it that way. Shards of crap, whether it be carbon fiber or whether it be metals or any other thing. Also, what causes clogging could be also your filament is a cheap filament that you buy from, let's say, China or other places that is horrible, and it has actual metal balls, as some guy said he found metal balls or like metal linings in it that will cause clogs that you probably can't even fix. So these are all something to think about before you need to, it's like putting gas in your car. If you put crappy gas or whatever, or alcohol in your body, good alcohol, motor oil alcohol, horrible stuff. You need to understand how to do maintenance to it. You need to understand that you need to maintain it. Me, before every job, I actually maintain my printer, especially a big job like a helmet. I would take it, take the nozzle apart, take it out, take everything, clean it, make sure everything is clean, fine and dandy, and then I go right to work. I actually sometimes, even if I do a big professional job, I like to use new nozzles. I don't even bother with the old one. I pull them out, I save them, for my own work, and I put in new nozzles. And these are something to think about. I own all of these. I'm not paid for to tell you about this. Like I said, all my channel is to bring honesty. I know a lot of fakers out there who get paid to tell you, oh, this is the greatest thing alive. It's not. I'm here to tell you that's crap. Be cost effective, learn the material, learn your nozzle, and you guys will be very happy in the end result. If you don't learn your nozzle and think something's indestructible, you're going to find out in a very hard way that it is destructible, and it's going to be extremely horrible. Okay, so that's all I got to say about that. Please let me know what you guys think down below. As always, providing honest reviews for you all the time and honest advice. Self-funded here. The only way you guys can help me out is by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting that bell button. As many more things to come. Now, I know a lot of you guys told me that you're happy that I returned back into the 3D world, 3D printing world. I was always there. I didn't really leave, and I'm so sorry about that. But with the moving and everything, it's impossible to set something up for 5 days to print something when I couldn't do it when I was moving things and doing stuff and getting things out of here, or repositioning or building a desk. So because of that, I couldn't do it for a while. But rest assured, it's back, and every Saturday or Sunday, Saturday night or Sunday, I will be releasing 3D printing things. I'll do my best to do that, and of course, I do my video game reviews and all kinds of gaming reviews and technology reviews, as I always do. As always, honest reviews, nothing but honesty. So like, subscribe, hit that bell button. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. And definitely comment below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. Bye.